SUNLU is one of the brands that has been in the 3D printer world for a long time. Maybe you've heard the name before, maybe you've seen their products online countless times, but until now you haven't had the chance to use them, or you've really wondered what kind of products they are. For those who think this way, I didn't want to evaluate SUNLU filaments with just a short print or a single spool. I used up about 10 to 12 kilograms of filament in total across different prints, different models, and different printers. So in this video, instead of unboxing, technical specs, or what the brand claims, I'll be talking mostly about my own experiences. How is the print quality? Is the color and surface consistency sufficient? Are there differences between spools? Does it cause problems during long prints? Is it really a filament worth choosing for its price? And how is its variety? I'll be sharing all of this with you in this video. SUNLU is one of the most established brands in the 3D printer market. Since 2013, they have been operating in various fields of the 3D printing industry, especially with their filaments, resins, filament dryers, and various 3D printer accessories. They have reached a wide user base worldwide. In this video, I will try to share with you the filaments I use most frequently and my experiences with them. Our priority will be PLA, which is the most preferred filament type among 3D printer users. In addition to standard PLA, SUNLU offers a wide range of PLA options such as PLA+, PLA matte, silk, marble, wood-like, fiberglass reinforced, and many with different surface effects. When it comes to color, as always, everything looks great on paper. But let's see if that's really the case. Let's start with this huge print made up of 22 parts. As those who have watched The Lord of the Rings might guess, this is a very large print. Barad-dûr, in other words, the Dark Tower. Of course, in its current state, we can't really call it dark. The original version of the model was quite small, but I rescaled it so that it would be 1 meter long. Of course, after scaling it, I had to split it into parts suitable for my 3D printer. Using 3D Builder, a free program on Windows, I divided the model into pieces at the points I wanted. I also recommend this program to users who want to watch this video and do similar things. It's an extremely simple piece of software. It's not used for modeling, but rather for simple edits like this. After downloading it, you can master all its settings within half an hour. Just make sure that when you split the model into pieces, no meaningless parts are left out. Take a good look at the sides of the model. Otherwise, like me, you might end up having to print tiny pieces separately and struggle to glue them together later. This is the less enjoyable part of the process, but of course, the part that will make us happy comes next. That's sending these pieces to print. I printed them with printers that I know won't disappoint me, that I've been using for a long time, and whose print quality I trust. During the process, I used 4 different printers. I know some users are very particular about this, but I didn't do any special calibration for either flow or temperature. I started printing with the average settings recommended by the slicing software, the printers, and SUNLU. Even though I'm an experienced user, I always like to do my tests from the perspective of new users. In my opinion, neither the printer, the software, nor the filament should make things too complicated for us. The standards are more or less clear, and even with these standards, we should be able to achieve acceptable results. Of course, if you're seeking perfection, you can make more detailed adjustments. I respect that. I did a lot of prints. Some parts were over 700 grams. The same model could have been printed with a smaller amount as well. However, the goal was to make a spool of filament last longer. I also tested by printing with PLA, PLA+, PLA matte, high-speed PLA, wood-filled, galaxy, and transparent filaments at what we can call standard speeds of 200 to 300 millimeters per second. Well, not for all of them, especially with the wood-filled filament, I reduced the speed down to 100 millimeters per second. With filaments that contain non-melting additives like this, such as wood, marble powder, carbon fiber, or fiberglass, it's beneficial to lower the speed a bit more or to print with a nozzle that has a diameter larger than 0.4 millimeters. This will both affect the print quality and help prevent possible clogs, just so you know. Anyway, after long prints, the Dark Tower was finally finished. After that, I cleaned off the supports and moved on to the assembly stage. I was happy with the result because what does a user expect from a filament? It shouldn't cause problems for my printer, it shouldn't clog the nozzle, the print should come out properly, and there shouldn't be any color inconsistencies on the surface. I only experienced one of these issues with the wood-filled filament. Due to the additives inside, this is probably the type of filament where you're most likely to encounter this problem. After all, wood material doesn't melt, and in some cases it may not mix homogeneously. There was also a power outage once. Lines appeared between the layers on both of my printers. During this time, due to the bed cooling down, the sharp corners started to lift, but I didn't care, because this wasn't my top priority and the situation had nothing to do with the filament. And finally, the Dark Tower. It hardly deserves to be called the Dark Tower, but this is the result after using about 10 kilograms of filament with 4 different printers: PLA, PLA+, matte PLA, transparent PLA, wood PLA, marble PLA. Whatever you're looking for is present on a single print. This was a very important test for me. I told this to the distributor company as well. I said, look, once we start this, there's no turning back. In other words, just so you know, I'm going to say exactly what I see, because this is the first time I'm using this brand. I don't know what kind of results will come out. And after using it, we'll all see together what kind of video I'll make. Yes, SUNLU isn't new. It's a brand that's proven itself in the global market. But in the end, every user's experience can be different. They said, we've already been testing this product for months and we trust the brand. I said, okay. Of course, a 10-kilogram test doesn't prove everything, but it does provide important insights. Except for the wood-infused filament, the rest are very clean. To be honest, this was the result I expected, because I generally knew its place in the global market and people's satisfaction with it. But if it had been otherwise, I would have said so anyway. I don't know if this print will stay like this or if it should stay like this. Maybe I can apply some putty and sanding to the joints like this. Then I can paint it matte black, so I can make it as dark as it should be. Of course, what will I do with it afterwards? By the way, I really like the model. I mean, can I display it somewhere at home, or will this turn into a fight with my wife? It probably will. So maybe after I finish working on it, I can gift it to a Lord of the Rings fan. Right now, my ideas about the Dark Tower aren't clear yet. Of course, to do more printing, I picked a model for myself and continued using the filament for longer periods with it. Now, while I show you some of these prints, I also want to talk a bit about SUNLU's variety of filaments. At this point, we're taking a short break in the video for a brief announcement. Actually, I'm not speaking English right now. In fact, I don't even know English, but thanks to Heygen AI, a powerful artificial intelligence tool, I can deliver my video content to you in English. In fact, if I wanted to, I could even start speaking Spanish right now.
Quizá debería abrir un nuevo canal de YouTube para mis publicaciones en español.
Or maybe in Japanese.
日本人ってテクノロジーの面ですごく進んでるんじゃないの？もしかしたら新しい YouTube チャンネルも日本語でやるのもありかもね。
If you also want to publish your content globally like I do, you can use Heygen AI, which provides dubbing support in more than 175 languages. Let's pick up where we left off. Because in my opinion, one of the most striking aspects of the brand is this diversity. Even just the PLA side is divided into many subcategories on its own, and in each of these subcategories there is a very wide range of colors. For example, there are 35 different colors in plain PLA alone. There are even different shades of white among them. I'm saying this independently of the SUNLU brand. Of course, from time to time there are colors that go out of stock, but I was told by them that shipments will be coming in regularly and continuously. Why am I saying this? Because I know how important material quality and color consistency are, especially for people who do business with 3D printers. On the matte PLA side, there are again 22 different colors, and in recent years, matte and pastel tones have become very popular, and I think there is still a significant gap in the market regarding this. There is a filament called PLA Plus 2.0. Compared to regular PLA, it has higher impact resistance, better layer adhesion, and higher fluidity. They use the 2.0 designation to indicate that it is an improved version of the previous PLA Plus filament. Just like with PLA, there are 35 different color options available for PLA Plus 2.0 as well. There is also the high-speed line. It is a filament suitable for fast prints with a high flow rate. This filament line also includes marble PLA, which has a marble-like appearance. It is suitable for fast prints and thanks to its additives comes in 6 different colors that give a marble appearance. It looks especially beautiful when printing decorative items like sculptures or, as I do, architectural models. There is also the Silk PLA Plus series. Just as with matte filaments, users show significant interest in this type of filament as well. There are 16 color options available in the Silk line too. To be honest, I don't really like the surface quality of Silk PLA. I'm saying this independently of the SUNLU brand. In general, if you ask me, standard PLA or matte PLA usually give better results compared to silk filaments. However, if you want your models to have a direct shine, silk PLA can certainly be preferred. I also want to talk about a few types of filament that I like and that can be used in different areas. For example, transparent PLA. This type of filament, which comes in several colors including clear, can be used in various decorative projects or in the production of items like lighting products. Of course, especially when printing for a lighting product, it should not be overlooked that PLA has a low heat resistance, and the auxiliary components to be used should be chosen accordingly. Although my first encounter with wood-infused PLA wasn't very pleasant, I didn't experience this problem with the following spools. The prints I got turned out quite nicely, there was no difference in the tones, so I kept printing with wood to see if this would continue. I've also used such filaments from different brands before. However, I've never come across a wood filament before that has such a beautiful surface quality and doesn't cause any stringing at all. Those who have used them surely know. Wood filaments cause incredible stringing. In fact, it wouldn't be wrong to say they're the most string-prone filaments. I don't know if it's related to the type of wood used, the filament itself, or the amount of wood in it. The surface of the print comes out very clean. It can be preferred for printing decorative items or things like toys. One of the things I like most is these spoolless refill filaments you see here. There's not a huge price difference between filament with a spool and spoolless filament. However, using this type of filament will generally reduce your plastic waste. This is a very beneficial action both for you and for the environment. Of course, the price difference I mentioned may seem small when considering just a single filament. However, if you use them heavily, this could save you money in the short or long term. All of SUNLU's filament spools are designed to be reusable, so maybe you'll place your first orders with spools. Later, when you run out of filament, you can buy refill filaments, and in this way, you achieve a more economical and environmentally friendly usage. Of course, SUNLU is not the only one offering this system. We see this with other brands as well. It's an idea that I fully support myself. Even when printing with the same printer, I have seen in my previous videos that the filament has a significant impact on print quality. Recently, I also shared a video about this with you. Considering the types of filaments I have used in the past and the tests I have conducted, I can say that I generally achieved very good results with the prints. The colors came out extremely homogeneous. Again, I'll mention the wood filament, but except for one print I made with it, I didn't encounter any color inconsistency in any of my other prints. I was able to get very consistent prints with different spools and different colors as well. We talked about PLA, but on the other hand, there is an incredible variety as well. Their product range includes many more filaments such as ABS, ASA, PA12, carbon fiber reinforced PA, fiberglass reinforced PA, PETG, two types of TPU with 90 and 95A hardness, and even a flame retardant ABS variant called ABS-FR by SUNLU. Yes, I haven't tested these filaments I mentioned yet. I haven't had the chance to use them yet. I don't know what kind of performance they will deliver or how their mechanical properties will turn out. However, I wanted to share with you that the product range is quite broad. If you ask me, there are some great filaments, especially in the PA category, that you might have trouble finding elsewhere. The same goes for the ABS category as well. Price is also a very important factor. It's neither cheap nor expensive. If you ask me, SUNLU stands right in the middle. It wouldn't be wrong to call it price performance. In fact, even though we haven't evaluated it technically or looked at its mechanical properties, I can say that at least based on these results, it offers quality above its price. Because as users, when we buy a product, we look at its price and whether it's trouble-free. So this is the most important criterion for us to evaluate its quality and decide whether it's worth the price. At this point, my mind is clear. In other words, SUNLU has produced a filament that's well worth its price. There may be points where you agree or disagree with me. I especially ask those who have used SUNLU filament before to leave a comment. In fact, I would be very happy if those who use it after this video also share their experiences with us once they've tried it. It doesn't matter at all whether your comment is positive or negative. What matters is that we share our knowledge. People who watch this video and check the comments shouldn't just see my experiences, they should also read what you write and draw conclusions from those as well. If we can achieve this, I think the video will become a much more valuable resource. So I would like to thank everyone who leaves a comment in advance. Of course, that's not all. I also look forward to your comments about the video and any questions you might have. I would be happy to answer those as well. Yes, that's all I have to say about SUNLU filament. I hope this video has been useful for you and has helped you make a decision. If there are filament types you liked and would like to purchase, I will put the product links in the description section below. May your printer run smoothly and your prints be flawless. See you in the next video. Goodbye for now.